But my father worked at the ministry, so obviously we're an important family. What? That's absurd. Well, some of them do amass quite a bit of wealth on their own, you know. 9 lives! I suppose if we were muggles, we'd be talking about a canary. I'm saying that if we were in a muggle school, they'd probably use a canary. I read a lot about muggles, I'll have you know. I even know the recipe for pancakes. They use them in the mines, you know. No, silly. Canaries. They're sensitive to the air, and if it goes bad, they die. He's right. You can't throw a gobstone without bumping into a muggle in London. Oh, the one with the embroidery of the jobberknolls. Such a pretty shade of blue, that one. Oh, how useful. Oh, I know who you're talking about. That was last year and she got caught. Spent a week in detention. I agree. I wouldn't want to sleep next to someone who had a bow truckle under their bed. I shall be sure to set my bow truckle on you, if I ever get it. It's just the same with muggles. They can be born into money and never have to work for it either. Oh, that's not true at all. In fact, I'd say they work harder than magical folk. They can't just wave a wand. I'm not sticking up for them. I'm simply stating the truth. I bet you've never had to till a field. I rest my case. Well, fortunately for everyone, no one in their right mind would want to work for you anyway. I don't find them that boring. Although I did vow never to ask you about defense against the dark arts since you tried to explain the boggart banishing spell. No, she's not. Your jokes are never funny. You're as bad as Ronan. It's true. I didn't want to say anything, but since they brought it up, sadly not. We're under our own steam, I'm afraid. And it's time you learn the truth. You're not amusing in the least. A Kneasel? Your boggart would be a Kneasel. How do you know? What did he say? Oh, he does. He wrote on mine. Adequate. Is that when you were writing in the library? Oh, I put that there. I didn't mean to get your hopes up. I picked it in the greenhouse. Garlic said I could. And then I put it down on your book while I went to look up something on magical theory. Must have forgot it. Anyone else feel completely invisible right now? Don't be a moon mind. That would defeat the purpose of the canary. They see the dead bird and know they need to leave. Lucky to have him, I say. If you're referring to Quidditch, I couldn't agree more. Sport is for Neanderthals. And muggles. Well, that was rude of you. A headmaster is supposed to be firm. Steer the ship. Command respect. It's a mission not many would take on. Don't talk such nonsense. Black will be remembered as the man who lifted the school to greatness. Strict and striving. Stop it. Don't be so silly. No wonder Black hates you. I'm sure he doesn't hate you. Rubbish. They'd still be burning us. Burned you'd be. If you so much as petted a cat. Burned. Why do you think we're not in cricket? Is anyone listening to me? What? No, we're not playing cricket. As I was saying, we were banned from participating in Muggle sports. Oh, give me strength. That's what I'm saying. That statue of secrecy has saved the lives of millions in the wizarding world. Somebody please obliviate me. Suppose they might, mightn't they? The conceit of the whole thing was brilliant. A true landmark in our history. And that's what they'd do to us now if they could. Burn us. Wouldn't doubt it. No, it's not. There are many ways that Muggles differ from us. It's completely plausible that they have different tongues. Most likely, yes. Would suit their treachery. How so? We're simply stating the facts. Or at least things we believe might possibly be facts. But I heard it. Well... What? Yes, well, Fine. I didn't actually hear it from someone, but I do believe it to be true. What's wrong with that? I mean, they might be able to see a bit. I don't know. Hard to top Ronan. You know her mother is a muggle. Hardly any point in worrying, though, is there? Not as if we'll actually be playing. I've never seen someone so infuriatingly obstinate. He doesn't even listen to the other professors. Just my luck to be here when we have this wretched man governing over us. Not to mention that he's Slytherin. That's a bit harsh. Oh, well, this is all very reassuring. Glad to know I'm amongst friends. I could hardly watch. No, you're just awful. Shamefully. If I were a vengeful girl, I say you should be sent to play for Dormstrang. I wouldn't upset yourself. You're good at so many other things. It's been blustery of late. could simply be dust blown in from the street. I wouldn't worry about it. Yes, if we rule out spint witches, I'd say we're rather out of luck for brooms. Wipe it? She shouldn't have to wipe it if she's paid full price. No, I say tell the man. He needs to know about this dust. One has to wonder. A cup. Granted, a very nice and highly sought-after one. That's precisely my point. You work hard, train, practice, exhaust yourself, and unless you win, it's pointless. Well, I shan't be encouraging my children to play. Not unless I feel very confident they can win at it. Yes, don't you? Quidditch is about clawing your way to the top. The glint of the wing of that golden snitch before you grasp it, and then being lauded by your peers as a champion. That is the point of Quidditch. No, what absolute drivel. We should plan something. Some sort of trick to punish Black. Better yet, get a runny-nosed first year to do it. Entice them with some spell they wouldn't learn till the 6th year. Fine. Next round of butterbeers is on you. I'm only teasing, don't worry. I already have 3 snotty-nosed first years begging to buy me a butterbeer. I told them that one of the mandrakes in Garlick's class is especially deadly. Said I'd tell them which one. We walk too, silly. One could argue that our legs are weaker because we use brooms. There. How's that for an idea? Well then, you're open to the notion that I'm presenting. Didn't it scare you? Finding it in your boot like that? You were too busy talking about having seen a flock of butterflies, as I recall. Strange, a niffler in your Wellington. I thought they only went after shiny things. How exciting! Did you find something on the walk the other day? I bet someone dropped it. Likely on their way from Dogweed and Deathcap. Would you let me borrow it one day? Just for a little while. I can't wait. I wonder what I shall find. Oh, don't be such a spoil sport. You're only jealous. And rose thorns. Then I don't understand. Why would you not wish to sit with him in the Great Hall when we have dinner? But that's absurd. Well, if it were me, I wouldn't so much as lend him some ink. Don't you worry. There's at least 5 in Slytherin placing wagers on the cannons as we speak. You'll not be short of kindred spirits when it comes to rallying for the Chudley cannons. Not in our house. Can you imagine? At the very least, it would be entertaining. What do you mean? Sorrowful past? Poor Professor Ronan. I never would have thought. He always seems in such good spirits. One day what? Goodness gracious. He'd still be hysterical playing Quidditch though, wouldn't he?
Yes, you were. You were staring right at Everett Clopton. I saw it too. Yes. Swear on your life. Ooh, can you draw my devil snare for me next time? I'm horrible at those. They always look like my grandmother's hands. Oh, it's true. It's a wonder Garlick can even tell your homeworks for her class. Oh, you little snidget. You're getting married. You're getting married. But it's only transfiguration. And you know Weasley would never expel you. I bet we could learn more exploring the Highlands than watching a rat turn into an oil lamp. Oh, come on. You know we'd have fun. How is missing one class going to impair your academic career? Oh, good, because I'm imagining there are some tasty potions we could find. No, silly. Potions that we won't be taught in class. Forbidden potions. Oh, there's probably everything. And as long as the librarian isn't about, I'm sure it's not that hard to get in. Oh, you're so boring. It's a wonder Gryffindor hasn't cast you out. Fine, let's just do our homework. And they were quite competent on a broom. Well, I think you should fly outside of school bounds, because then the rumours would be true. You probably just haven't found the right broom yet. I'm sure Kagawa would spend extra time with you. There's just one problem. Who said you were any good at flying? I don't think a Puffskein yearns to be around a pile of dusty old books. You're lucky the librarian didn't see you. You and Balthazar would both be in detention. All I'm saying is to please let me know next time. That's all. Oh, any sort of sneaking is most definitely exciting. I shan't be left out again. I wasn't told about that. Kagawa doesn't seem to like a lot of us, but I bet she does really. As a matter of fact, I think she quite likes me. And I'm even more horrible at flying than you. It's a good way to get attention, that is. Being good at Quidditch. What? Did you say something? Muggles have it better. Have you ever tried to ride a horse? You're not a Muggle born, are you? It's true. Well, I'm not going to just do it right here, am I? Why not? Because I might attract the attention of snakes wishing to converse. Very well. Imagine a carriage ride through London. Not the same at all. Oh, the excitement would be how he might ask for your hand. Oh, I dream about it. And he'd have to go down to the shop to buy you some flowers. He couldn't just conjure them up. That did it for me. My mind's made up. Ugh, that's revolting. Oh, I think I did hear something about this. Yes. They don't actually bite, yet somehow manage to suck your blood. Oh, that's nice. Very clever. You wouldn't be saying that if you'd spent an hour having dinner with one. For starters, they don't wash. Are you saying I'm a liar? Don't believe me. I don't care. Our neighbour has a housekeeper who once cleaned the house of a muggle, and she said it was filthy. Said they live like animals. Not that it matters, but I believe it was a farm, with farm animals. Filthy, she said it was. Ugh, I might have expected you'd make excuses for them. I feel I'm wasting my breath. No. What's your point? Very clever. Very clever. And so I should be going on about it. She's a traitor and not a thing less. She ate a Cornish pasty. That is not wizarding food. You tell me one wizard you've seen eating a Cornish pasty. Go on! I can forgive her the pancakes because I'm fairly sure we came up with those. But a Cornish pasty? No. Do either of you have any sense of loyalty to your kind? Dignity? Self-respect? Besides, it was the French who came up with that. Because now he's showing some integrity. Obviously, he experienced something untoward. Someone from Beauxbatons, was it? It's an interesting theory, though, isn't it? That it's all in the name. That a person's surname conveys everything you need to know about them, including their blood status. Precisely. My point is, what if you can tell what line of work they're in as well? Or at least something about them. I'm simply theorising that, for example, the name Slughorn could stem from ancestors who were involved with slugs. And Shacklebolt? Likely a heritage of working with metals. Don't be silly. Obviously herbologists. Likely one of them had a very bad back. Oh no, they didn't do much. Likely we won't hear about them for much longer. Common name, that one. Not a chance. Oh. What sort of hobby? How do Patronus essays interfere with buying you a broom? She's not an abysmal sister at all. She's entitled to follow her own passions and not be beholden to others. What's to say broom flying isn't a whim? What's her Patronus anyway? Oh, stop it. Well, I bet it's a big fierce bear. I knew it! A hard knock from a bludger would do it, I'm sure. Likely it was quite nasty, whatever it was. I think I know what he means. You'd like to know that the injury was on a par with the impact of cancelling Quidditch. What about if they broke every bone in their body? Would that do it? Or mother? Old enough to be your mother? The shopkeeper? Of Spintwitch's sporting needs? Well, few of us are experienced in that regard. I didn't know that. I'm not fully sure I agree either. Well, I didn't. Yes. Yes. Oh, I see. And how does one get a sweet named after them? Or some sort of pie. My mother's friend's housekeeper works at the ministry. Cleans there on Fridays. Perhaps she has some details? Oh, housekeepers know all the secrets. Works for Spavin himself on a Friday. Only that he's not fond of centaurs. By the looks of his face, I'd say he's already had a run-in with the Dementors. No need to be so serious. I'd say you were lucky it was cancelled then. You haven't got a niffler's chance of winning the Quidditch Cup. If there were more than one seeker, then it would be a completely different game though, wouldn't it? Silly idea. True. You're rather like a balloon that someone's let the air out of. What a pair of little babies you two are. I've never heard such waffling. The game should be hard, that's the point. Shame. Shame about what? Oh, you mean there were birds' eggs in there? Starling, I reckon. Lovely eggs, starlings. Much better than blackbirds. Well, you had said shame, so I think we were thinking that perhaps there were eggs in the nest. Birds' eggs? Well, you should have said, shouldn't you? About the only thing interesting to ever come out of Godric's Hollow, I can tell you that much. I would have been in the Wigtown Wanderers. Would have suited me perfectly. Wasn't that the club started by a butcher? Used to stand at the sides with his butcher's knife, didn't he? He had 7 children, didn't he, the founder? 4 boys and 3 girls. That's right, blood-red robes they wear, to honour that he was a butcher. Why couldn't I have been born in their time and played alongside those sisters? It really is most intriguing. Although, I suppose they did have the strap. Still, marvellous discovery. The gripping charms. You don't think the teams would have been thrilled to bits to not have to hold on to a little strap? We should try it. Playing Quidditch without using gripping charms. Oh, except for one tiny moment I forgot. Black cancelled Quidditch. Ugh. Ah, the Transylvanian tackle. Don't see that much. Yes, it's a cunning little move. The first time someone used it was at the World Cup of 1473. I wonder if they do it a lot in Transylvania. The Transylvanian tackle. Yes. Oh, well, that's easiest enough. As a matter of fact, you are. However, in this particular instance, I may have to side with my fine colleague here. It was a very good hex, though. Oh, I didn't think toenails could get any uglier. Will you teach me that? You drive a hard bargain. When can we start? And likely for good reason. Oh, that does sound fun. That's why we need new ways to torment them. Ones that don't leave marks. And that the only thing left of it was his name signed on the front. Have you not done it yet? Thought you'd be eager for that one. Should be extinguishing dragons if you ask me. The roar? You mean the roar of the dragons? But the assignment was to write about the flame and the differences between how it comes out. No, of course not. Just humiliating. Sharp. As in Professor Aesop Sharp. The most crotchety potions teacher anyone's ever met. No doubt the dusty thing feasted up your snout all night. Ugh, revolting. Your nose is big enough. I'm sure you could sustain an army of the things. I'm not exactly sure we'll be crying at your modicum of dubious wealth. But what on earth makes you think anyone would want bags of your flea-ridden old puffskein hair? Oh, well, you'd better start sharing it with us then. I like the sound of this. Fine. Consider us your best friends. Now, where is our charming little ferret? Strength through loyalty. No, silly. That wouldn't be very appropriate for a bank. What? What's a code? What? What draft? Who made? Oh, now I know who you're talking about. Yes, she's a bit of a busybody, that one. Wouldn't trust her an inch. She told me her uncle fancies himself a bit of a potioneer. Apparently he's given her all sorts of concoctions. What? That's not a thing. Yes, I reckon he's definitely been confounded. No, only if your broom looks like a doomed branch that's been trampled by a mountain troll. Possibly then it's useful. And what makes you think he used an invisibility spell? Those are quite hard, aren't they? I bet I know who it was. It was that boy from Newark-on-Trent, wasn't it? 3rd year. Saw him going over Hogsmeade on it. Lovely broom, the Wind Wisp. Really good sprint to it. And a sharp turn. Anyway, at least you're good with splinters. Not to mention the statute. Oh, that's right. Should any creature cause harm to, or draw the notice of, the Muggle community, paragraph C of the decree for the reasonable restriction of underage sorcery. You could be expelled. I am not. But Muggles are just so defenseless. They're like lambs. And you did trip that lady 3 times. I just hate wasting food. My father does all the baking in our house. I would try hiding them, but there's never time, because they're eaten so quickly. No, they're far too good for that. It might change the taste. But your cakes are horrible. They taste like someone dug up a dead terrier. You wouldn't know if it changed the taste of your cakes, because it would simply be a different degree of foul. I was being polite. That the one where someone opens a book and it catches fire? Good name then, really. Why not? In fact, I think they should insist that we go alone. Imagine how much simpler that would be. No, because you don't have to worry about dragonpox. Yes, of course, so you don't have to ask someone. Oh. Please proceed. Who abandons a rumpus? I haven't heard of that. Is it a thing? Sure you're all right? How very tragic. I'd never thought of you in that light. Abandoned. Well, it's settled then. Should such an instance arise as to require us to attend a dance, we shall all go together. No. She would say no. That's how she could do it, only sounding much more terrifying. Like an angry Kneasel, or a Thestral that hurt its hoof, or perhaps a Manticore that had lost a cub. What is it you imagine you'll find in there? In the restricted section? Oh, the truth comes out. So this fixation isn't so much about secret spells as it is about breaking the rules. There a rule against drawing black? I wasn't aware. Oh yes, no, of course. There are so many old books in the library. I'd say you'd be hard-pressed to find one without a turn page. I'd win. I have sharp eyes. Like a hippogriff, my mother says. Oh yes, I'm good at that. Delicate hand. Like a bowtruckle, my mother says. I'll be tested too. Good to stay in top form. That won't work, because we shall hear each other. Then we'll know the answers. Yes. And if it involves warlocks, I shall need extra time. I struggle to recall details regarding warlocks. Unless it's Barnabas Deverill, then it's fine. I would think a Puffskeen's best friend would be, Another Puffskein. It wasn't his fault at all, then? For causing the nosebleed? Happy to? Any of you hear about the incident in the courtyard? Apparently a little scuffle. One boy hit another in the face. They said that the one that was hit was quite a coward. How would you know? Wait! Was that you that was hit? You know I hate being left out. And you know I like a good cauldron cake. Rascals, going without me. Oh, that's even worse. I found you out. And did you go to Steepley's? Scoundrels! Both of you! I shall remember this next time you ask me about Clabbits and Chispurfles. You're on your own with Howin now. Well, why didn't you say that in the first place? Consider the matter closed, and all is forgiven. Did he say what it was like at St. Mungo's? Interesting. Oh, a founder of the hospital, do you think? I've never been to St. Mungo's. Always wanted to go. I thought I might be lucky and get to see a werewolf. In a civilised environment. Oh, I would only go up close if it was in a public ward. And of course I'd mind it wasn't a full moon. Well, it's their own fault for saving it. And then letting it grow fond of them. Anyway, I don't see the concern. They have a friendly crow that won't leave them alone. What's the harm? What's so dire about a barrage of omens? They might be good ones. Oh, and what's her belief about the crow? Absurd. Surely they can lure it away with a few earthworms. Not got an irrational fear of earthworms, has she? Are you always this dramatic about everything? As bad as Ronan with your theatrics. Or they did. Not at all. But admit, it is rather unusual for no one to clap when the house is called at the sorting ceremony. No one. But then even when you walked to the table to sit with them, not a one of them clapped. What? What did you do? But why would you do that? What a moon mind. Not for long. You can forget it if you think I'm going to let you live this down. I shan't miss you. Suit yourself. Liar. Highly unlikely. Are you talking about death? Did you give her Alihotzi? Charming. I despise you both. Now when are we getting those butterbeers?
Because I told you, I can transfigure one. Soon get us a snitch. Non-verbal spells are very difficult. Yes, Madam Kagawa.
It was only a toad in the fountain. It was only her toad, Professor. See, I told you.
Why are you doing this? It's cruel. Now look what you've done. We're very sorry, Headmaster. I told you, but you wouldn't listen. I've seen her do it. It's true. And risky. You could never do one. Course, Mum. I told you she was good, didn't I? You should see her with a cookpot. What if he sticks like this? It didn't before. That other boy was like it for a week. I've just realised. I have an essay I need to finish for bins. 2 inches. Did you memorise the dates of magical discoveries and goblin rebellions?
I think I heard one.
It's only her toad, silly. If it had been my toad, it'd still. Don't be silly, it'll wear off in a few hours, I think. Oh, stop fretting. We'll have you with Nurse Blaney in no time. What? What is it? Merlin's, I haven't done mine either. Not yet, no. You'll be fine. I'll check on you tomorrow.
My father once nearly died in the fire of a streeler, so I'd say that beats working at the ministry any day. You can't possibly think that. That would mean any half-blood with wealth is more important than the pure blood. Except what? You've not got another one of your notions about some heroic muggle, have you? Oh, so do Nifflers. Doesn't mean we should round them up and give them a vault at Gringotts. My father once nearly died of a Niffler scratch. Went very septic, it did. 9 lives. Yes, well, I'm sure riding a horse would be just as good as riding a broom. Don't be absurd. Of course it can't. Obviously a broom is better, because you can fly on it. I don't recall ever seeing a person flying on a horse. What? Not again. You ask Kagawa if we could enchant a horse. I literally wonder why I bother sometimes. Well, you would, wouldn't you? Everyone knows you come from money. Can you hear yourself? My heart bleeds for you. So many things and nowhere to put them. You're on. I'll have to stop into tomes and scrolls by the sound of it. I'm a bit behind in beasts. Consider it on my list. As long as I get to see a hippocampus egg, I'm in. I'll likely take you up on that. Thank you. What? I mean... Oh. Really? Oh, well... That's... Bravo. Bravo. Well, I look forward to seeing that transparent egg. Oh, I should think most of them are like that. My father says muggles don't know what hard work is. I might have known you'd stick up for them. Well, I most certainly have not. Ugh, as if we could expect you to know about anything involving soil. All I know is, if I had to hire someone to work for me, it wouldn't be a muggle. Oh, you little crupmite. I hope you both know how magnificently boring you both sound. I thought Binns was bad enough, but listening to you pair, I think there's a new talent on the mantle. I'm not saying I wouldn't take a bit of help with my homework, you understand? Fair enough. In that case, you're still undeniably boring. Dabbing at you? What's your boggart then? That's more like it. That's a fear with a bit of logic behind it. Not like a cat. Then he's definitely a goner. Oh, you little snidget. I trusted you with that. Just a minute, isn't that the test you copied off me? So, to be clear, you're complaining about getting poor marks on a test that you cheated on. Well, that takes some beating, doesn't it? I'm sure someone would give you a rose. It's just that I think she's telling a lie. Yes, but how would we know? Precisely. I'm glad someone sees some sense. That's exactly what I'm saying. Glad you agree. I rest my case. That first year has Muggle grandparents, and I know it. No, she's right. Killed in droves we were in medieval times. Terrible persecution it was for magical folk. Yes, it's not a real bat. Not one of our bats. Well, I saw a picture in a book. Not entirely, although if you squinted your eyes a bit. Yes, I heard it too. Well, I heard it from you. Don't confuse friendliness for foolishness. Ronan's nothing more than a clown sometimes. Besides, don't you think it's uncomfortable when she mentions her mother? The other day, she's explaining how valuable Dittany is in magical drafts. Next thing you know, she's going on about her mother in Gloucester. I don't think Black'd like it. The thing is, why does she have to bring it up, I say? We're here to learn about herbology, not hear details of her filthy heritage. What does that have to do with it? With that line of thinking, am I to assume that because they drink tea, they can brew a sleeping draught? What is this? Some sort of Muggle march? The notion that Muggles might be marvellous at Quidditch is absurd. It's the same as saying that if I journey on a train, I'd likely be a marvellous duellist. It's not at all related. Or if I was to eat an egg sandwich, that I'd make a marvellous chef. It's completely nonsensical. Oh, good. Because if you weren't agreeing with me, then we should stand to fall out. And I wouldn't want that. Well, I always appreciate your insight into the realm of our non-magical kin. Perhaps on an annual basis. I didn't say that. I wouldn't say that. You weren't entirely abysmal the last time you played. I'm not sure I agree with that theory myself. Hard work is where true prowess is forged. Yes, make up your mind. Are we born with it? Or do we actually have to get on our confounded brooms and work at it? May I say that I feel you're being a tad harsh? Do be quiet, please. I think you're all being rather melodramatic. I'm an at least moderately adequate player. Oh, don't look at me like that. Why are you all looking at me like that? I am. What? Surely there are worse players than me. Why are you all being silent? It's as if someone's cast a Confunder's charm on you all. You can't be serious. I've seen that boy and he has more hope of catching dragon pox than the Golden Snitch. Oh, like what? What? Oh, don't tell me you can't think of one thing. You're an abysmal lot, all of you. Should think I'd get more encouragement from a Hungarian horntail, second year who hums a lot. How atrociously offensive. I'm after the yew-weaver. That's what I'm saving my sickles for. It's an important thing, a broom. Can give you a lot of confidence, the right broom. Even if you're not a good flyer. That's not true at all. I'm a fine flyer. Let's hope. And then, it's over. You feel the sport only has value if you win at it. I'd honestly never thought about it before. Not until you mentioned. Not as much as Muggles. We have brooms, like a civilised society. I'm not looking for an argument. I'm not going to debate the implausible theory that Muggles have stronger legs than ours, if that's what you mean. What? They walk anywhere. Wherever they want. Where do they walk? What a preposterous question. You know, I really have to question sometimes whether you are actually a witch. Rats should be killed. Vile things. Nonsense. Unless you're talking about that second year who's always covered in feathers. In which case, then I'd agree. A lucky nut? And what, pray tell, constitutes a lucky nut? I'd keep it. Why not? Their own fault for being careless. Oh, don't say you're being lured into this superstitious fantasy. Your common sense if you're lucky. I don't think so. I mean, I dare say I could let it sit on my desk in potions one day. Keep sharp at bay. I wasn't being serious. It's nonsense. Should think the nut could stand some luck to escape from your boot. A lot of laughter from a man with such tragedy. Hides a sorrowful past. That's what I've heard. Had a son who died, so I'm told. Got in with a bad lot. Apparently severed himself from his own family. And then, one day, well, the way I heard it was that Ronan went to collect some of his son's things. No doubt expecting him to be dead, I suppose, on account it had been so long. Anyway, he arrives to get the things and meets his son's ghost. You have to admire the man, having such a loss and going about the way he does. Funny, I'm in your class, and I never received this assignment. I take offence to that. Humility is such a virtue. What? They've won the League Cup. Goodness. Must be 20 times by now. It's almost traitorous. Emphatically yes. The boy's clearly an ogre. Point him out to me, and he'll have a trip jinx coming his way. I will. You'll know better next time. All I know is, if I was flying about in a match, the last thing I'd want was someone fainting and dropping on me. In the event that Quidditch is one day restored to the premises of this school, your teammates deserve to know.
Oh, what was it? Well, even if you had it, half the school would have been after it. You'd have had to have a griffin to guard it. And what happened with the hourglass? Why wasn't it yours in the end? No, I suppose not. Although, if we're talking about Sharp's class, I don't care if Weasley is nice. I find everything about Transfiguration utterly unnerving. I suppose so. What? Wasn't serious? Oh dear. I'm never going back to that class. What? And she's a Hufflepuff? Probably wants to be turned into a venomous tentacular. You haven't heard the way she talks. She almost jokes about it. What's the harm in becoming Flora? I'm serious. Well, I'm just saying. And if it ever happens when I'm in class, she can get help with someone else. What? Oh dear. I think I'm already on her bad side. Oh dear. Very funny. Very funny indeed. Weasley would never transfigure a student. That girl is potty. Keep asking if she can be turned into something. That's rather presumptuous. How can you possibly think you're more pure than me? That's rubbish. I saw you in a Muggle inn on Carnaby Street the last time I was in London. All I know is you had at least 2 steak and kidney pies in the time that I was watching. It's not the same trifle at all. Theirs is horrible, and don't even get me started on that sludge they call custard. Someone who can spot a Muggle lover a mile away. And you had a Muggle pudding. I want you to do my herbology homework. It's an essay, 3 inches. Serves you right for lowering yourself to frequent a Muggle pub. Thank you. And if the essay gets good marks, your dirty little secret can stay just between us. And be sure to pay keen attention to the history of Horklumps as they pertain to the evolution of farming. Wouldn't want to disappoint Garlic now, would we? That's what I'm saying. You could be in prime form, your team's 14 goals to 1, they catch the snitch, and you're even. It's an outrage if you ask me. Well, I'd have it at least be 11. Now that I think of it, if it were up to me, I could go up to 50. Yes. Yes. That's what I think's fair. Now I'm hearing it, still sounds unfair. There's no way of making that game fair, and that's the trouble. You're a cold one, aren't you? What? Oh, well, yes, that's the thing. Shame, really, that I can't play. Well, they're funny things, kneecaps. It's when you're on an incline, it's not so painful. Just the broom, mainly, it hurts. No. Really a herbology person, if I'm honest. Apparently, she was a marvellous seeker. Why not? What's to say the magpies won't take you one day? I'm serious. I've seen you play. You're nothing to sniff at. What, who said? Oh, yes, of course. What do you mean about the snitch not being fast enough? It's all relative, though, isn't it? I mean, if you're flaming through the air on an Albie Week special, the snitch is likely well in your grasp. Of course not, but it's a combination, isn't it? Sharp broom, sharp player. You have to believe it. How else will you stand a chance? Don't worry. I only want you in the Magpies, so I know I have a good opponent to beat. I made my own. Wasn't hard. Had some dung and a few dead scarab beetles. Worked very well. That's what I said. No, it wasn't. It was better. Simple. If you practice with something that can't kill you, it makes you take chances. Push yourself. Of course. Added a bit of glue, enchanted it to chase me. How else do you think I built up such confidence on the pitch? And do you remember seeing other students practicing their craft on the moors? No, because they weren't confident. But I evidently was worthy of remembering. Well, if you ever want to borrow my beetle bludger, you only need ask. It'll bring your confidence out. No, beetle bludger. It's more beetle than dung. Very well. I shall equip you with the beetle bludger tomorrow. You'll be beaming with confidence in no time. But don't break it. You're awful with the club, like in a rumpant in a blindfold. It's a wonder your broom doesn't flee. How many did you hit? Oh, the one who performs the bubblehead charm on herself before potions. Yes. Did you get that one who keeps the spider behind his ear? Victory. Oh? What makes you say that? They're a bargain if you ask me. I never feel anxious about using up a stink pellet. Stink pellets? Think I'd rather take my chances with the fireball than with Scribner. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't fancy reading up on a secret spell? Or a forbidden charm? I understand. Why stir the pot with professors when there's oblivious first years to torment? I like her too. We still on for putting exploding bonbons in the greenhouse then? I'm shocked Black hasn't got rid of her yet. Well, she'd better not do it again. Of course. We mustn't let on that we're scared of her. I don't blame you. She could misinterpret it. You looking at her. She might take it as a sign. Yes, some sort of sign of defiance. I don't blame you. She could hex you. Yes, for being defiant. I'm only saying, if she thinks you're being defiant and then hexes you, well, that's that, isn't it? Well, she'll keep giving you those hiccough sweets, won't she? And you know how much Ronan enjoys that. Well, if you do my charms homework, I'll have a word with her for you. Of course I am. But I'm more scared of getting bad marks in charms. Naturally, I'll need to come top in the class. Oh, well, in that case, it's off. I hope she does hex you. Sounds most entertaining. Yes. You'd hidden a bucket of leaping toadstools over at the far end. I got told off for that. Well, I was mildly distracted by the shuffling of the mandrakes, I do believe. Do you recall that part too? Tell you what, I'll forget the whole thing if you can spot me some sneezewort and scurvy grass. Yes, there's a third year who keeps enchanting my quill to go up my nose. Time he learned who's in charge here. Plus, it's an old quill. Clearly has feathers of some horrible bird that had no pride. Very painful up a nostril, I can tell you. Always. And don't be stingy on the sneezewort. Could have started a fire. And I'm afraid I'm not natural at the freezing spell. Thank you. I've seen your slowing charm, and the victim could outpace the thestral. Hence the aforementioned threat of fire. No. I tried, though. Made some sort of sitting pillow. At least that's what I told Weasley when she sat on it. Don't I know it? Received a howler from my mother the very next day. Almost took me out of school altogether. Said if I so much as looked at a hedgehog again, she'd put me to work on a flower stall in Covent Garden. Don't get too excited. I wouldn't be offering any special pricing. I might even charge more for you. I should be so lucky. No. I'd say you're in with the stall owner now. I did see one, though. No, I was by myself. She had big eyes. I wasn't particularly keen on the skin. It was a dead colour. I'd imagine sirens are a bit more appealing. Not at all. That glass has stood 900 years without a crack. I'm sure it'll last till I leave here. Most certainly. I think she was hungry. Or that she likes my hair. No need to fear. Your secret's safe with me. On one condition.
I don't know why you don't just get a snitch from inside. I didn't do anything, madam.
Can't see this being much good to a half-blood. What about you? What do you think? Incendio! He's a half-blood, sir. If you hadn't been distracting me...